Hi there. I'm finishing up a wholesale order of masks right now and thought this would be a really great time to share another video with you. I want to talk to you about a very frequently asked question in various forums, and that is how to choose a craft show. And by craft show, they go by a lot of different names. Craft fair, bazaars, market is the real trendy name to call them recently. But in any case, how do you decide to whether or not you want to be a vendor at a particular event or not? So I'm going to give you 12 things to consider that will hopefully help you make an informed decision. Number one, how long has this event existed? So of course, if it's been around for a couple of years, you're going to have more information on it, more vendors to talk to, more potential shoppers to talk to determine if this event is a good fit for you. So if it's a brand new event, maybe see if the organizer is affiliated with a group or business that you find to be reputable. If you can, if it's not a brand new event, visit the event before you apply, just to get a feel for it and see if it is something that's going to be right for you. Also keep in mind that shows can change their focus. Just because it was a certain way one year doesn't mean it's always going to be that way the next. Number two, does the organizer and the organization itself that they represent have a good reputation? Do they have experience running events? Do they respond to your questions in a timely manner? Are they pleasant and professional to work with? Have they in the past maybe canceled an event for no good reason and not refunded the vendors? Number three, is the show juried? If you don't know what juried means, that is an application process where the organizer of the event looks at potential applications from vendors and then decides who is going to be invited to participate. Now, what are they looking for? That's a variety of things, and usually it is, of course, the quality of your products, the variety of the different applicants' products versus oversaturation, meaning you don't want, if you have 20 vendors, you don't want 5 of them selling soap and body products, or, a third of them selling the same type of beaded jewelry. Usually they'll want to see a photo of your display to make sure that the look and quality of it is consistent with their event and how they want it to be perceived. Also, they were going to want to know what your price points are to make sure that they are compatible. If this is a fine art show, they're not going to be looking for someone who sells costume jewelry for $10. It just isn't going to be cohesive with the style of event. And then, having said that, in general, they want to know if your products and your business is a good fit for their customer base. And they do all these things to ensure that it is a good experience for both their attendees, their customers, and the vendors alike. So if they're dedicated to a quality event, they want to make sure that everyone is successful and has a good experience. Now, if a show isn't juried, that means that they're accepting anyone who is willing to show up and to pay the vendor fee. That is something I would be suspicious of. That could either indicate an inexperienced vendor, or maybe the event has a poor reputation and they're running out of vendors who are willing to do that event. Or possibly it's just someone who thinks that running a craft show is a good way to make money, and that's their main motivation. How is this particular event being promoted? This is very important. Between all the different types of advertising available, we've got TV, print, radio, internet, and that includes all the social medias. There are going to be fewer people reached by any single source, so you have to diversify. You can't just, set up a Facebook event and call it a day. You need to, have this event promoted in a variety of different ways to reach the largest number of people. Also, that includes you as a possible vendor. If you're vending at a show, you need to help promote it as well. However, I would steer clear of any event where the organizer is expecting their vendors to do the bulk of the promotion. They are being paid a fee by you, and part of that fee is to cover advertising. And so, yes, you should do your part, but the responsibility does not lie 100% with you. Yearly events need to be promoted as well, just as much as any other. Even if an event's been going on for a long time, for example, the event that I do every year, it's called Atomic Holiday Bazaar in Sarasota. It's been going on for about 12 years. The organizer, Adrienne, she promotes that event heavily every single year. She is advertising it in a variety of different ways. She goes on local TV, she does social media, email, everything. She does tons of promotion for that event. She doesn't just sit back and relax and assume that all the promotion she's done in previous years is just going to be good enough to bring in customers. You can't do that, especially when you have a changing population. There's going to be people who have moved away or are not looking to shop Handmade that year. Maybe their budget is limited. And then in a transient area such as Florida, we have tourists, we have people visiting relatives, we have people moving here and then moving away and moving back again. So you need to make sure that you're continuing to promote so you reach all those potential people. Now, even at a successful event like Atomic, when I have mentioned it to people, a lot of times there are people who have been in this area for a long time and have not heard of it yet. So we need to make sure we keep bringing those people into our events, and that is going to benefit you and everyone else who is participating in that event. Are the clientele attending this show your customer? Now, do you even know who your customer is? If not, this is something you really need to determine. Factors determining who your customer are would include their age, their socioeconomic status, what type of family it is. Are they young single people? Are they families with little kids? Are they empty nesters? What type of interest do they have? Will these shoppers coming to this event be looking to buy your products? That's the main thing you need to think about. Not necessarily, are there a lot of shoppers there? Are they shoppers who tend to spend money? Are they looking to buy your products? And that's something that you need to determine. What types of items sell well at this event? Think about the type of event it is. Why are they going there? Are they going to buy small gift items for their children? Are they looking to buy jewelry items for themselves? Are they looking to buy giant wood signs for their home? Or are they definitely not looking to buy those types of things? If it's an event where they're tending to walk around a large area, are they going to want to lug a giant wooden sign around that event and then haul it to their car? And do they tend to buy handmade items? Some events and some communities, it's just not something that is valued there. There are artsy communities, and then there are communities that are more pragmatic and they're just looking to buy something that meets their needs at a low price point. That's fine, but you just need to make sure that you are vending at an event where people are looking to buy your products. A good example of this is a mistake that I made once. There is an event in Tampa, which is about an hour north of me, called Indie Flea. It is really hard to get into. It's a very popular event. I believe it's held monthly. It's been going on for a couple of years now. And I applied to it because I had heard all the buzz. And the first time I didn't get in, I applied again and got in. And I barely made my table fee back, the fee to vend at the event. When I factored in all the other costs, like gas and things like that, I actually lost money. So what went wrong? My products are good, that people like them. I sell a lot of them. But this event, my potential customer was just not there. This event was it's geared more toward a younger person, like people in their early 20s who don't have kids yet. And for the most part, those people are not looking to purchase items that are generally for, for kids. So even if it's a great event, it's not necessarily going to be a great event for you. Number 6, are customers going to that event to shop? There are a lot of events where an area for vendors is kind of included as an afterthought. It just seems like it would be a good idea. It's another way to bring in revenue for that event. Sometimes it works really well where, perhaps it's held at a brewery and the attendees are just tipsy enough to be a little more spendy than usual. So it ends up being mutually beneficial because the people attending the event, they happen to love the things that you're selling, so not only they have a good time, they go pick up a couple goodies as well. Or they might just be too drunk to shop, where you're getting beer spilled on your displays and having to deal with drunk people. Or on the other hand, if it's maybe a church festival where it's a fundraiser and they have bouncy houses and little carnival style games, and families are perhaps bringing their kids there to entertain them, and they are in no mood or disposition to shop. Or maybe they're in a really good mood because their kids are happy and behaving, and they want to reward them by buying them a little toy or something. Where maybe the shoppers are just looking for deals, or they're expecting to find something that other than what you're selling, that might not be a good opportunity for you. Now, the number of attendees in an event is not necessarily a factor in how successful you are going to be. If they're not there to shop, you are not going to make money. Number 7, is the venue a good fit for you? There are indoor events and there are outdoor events, and each one comes with its set of problems. Now for me, I live in Florida, so I don't do events in the summer. I don't like the heat, so I'm going to be cranky if I'm sitting outside, and that's just not good for business. So, same goes for if you live in a cooler climate and it's an outdoor show in the fall, winter, early spring, you're probably not going to want to do that either. Also, if it's an indoor event, make sure that there is enough space for everybody, that vendors are not being crammed together where there's not enough of a walkway for customers to get through, particularly if they're customers with giant strollers, or that make sure the event has proper ventilation, air conditioning in it. Another factor is parking. If it is an event that does not have a lot of good parking, there are a lot of people who are not going to be willing to circle a parking lot for a half hour looking for a space. They might just decide, oh, forget it, this isn't worth it, and go do something else that day and not come to the event. Bathrooms are a factor. If you have to stand there in line and wait for a porta potty, that's going to be a turn off for many people as well, especially families with little kids. I can't imagine taking a toddler into a porta potty and the reaction that they would have. Also, check on where and how the unloading and loading process is. Are you expected to drag all of your displays and products a quarter of a mile across the park, or are you able to drive right up to your spot? Very important stuff to keep in mind and plan for accordingly. What is the policy for inclement weather, especially if it's an outdoor show? Is it held rain or shine? Is there going to be a refund given if it rains? Usually there's not. If you need electricity, is it available? Do you have to pay extra? Do you need to bring your own extension cord? Number 8, what expenses are you going to incur as a result of doing this event? In addition to the obvious vendor fees, you're going to need to consider your travel, so that would be gas money, tolls if they apply. If it's an out-of-town event, you're going to need to stay at a hotel. The time itself, your time has a value to it. Doing an event is an all-day thing. it's going to tire you out. You're not going to be able to accomplish anything else that day. You also need to have proper displays for your products. You can't just lay all your products out flat on a table and expect that to attract shoppers. Look at retail stores, see how they have similar items displayed. I guarantee you they're not just all laid out flat on a table. Do you have enough inventory? If your products are primarily made to order, you need to factor in how much time and expense you need to create enough inventory for that show. And then also, you need to be able to store whatever doesn't sell. So do you have the space for that? Do you have, plastic bins to properly store those items so they don't get, dirty or dusty until your next show or until you sell them in another venue like Etsy? Certain shows have requirements for your displays. Some shows will require you to have a white tent. Vendor tents come in a variety of colors, and some shows are particular about what color they are. Other shows are particular about what type of linens you have on your tables. Also, do you need to have help with this show? Is it something that you can handle the setup and tear down and all that stuff on your own, or are you going to have to bring a helper with you? Well, you need to pay that person. Also, all these displays and inventory, do they fit in your car? If not, do you have the ability to either borrow a truck or rent one? And the gas and the use of that truck itself are also going to cost you money. Number 9, what time of year is this show being held? Obviously, Thanksgiving and Christmas are the number one time of year for people to be shopping, so if you can find a good event during that time period, that would be ideal. January, not so much, because we're all broke from Christmas time and all that shopping. But other times a year might be good times for you to find your customer. As an example, there are holidays throughout the year and different events that might be a good fit for your business and places you will find your customer. A good example would be a bridal show. If you sell items that appeal to brides, no matter what time of year, you might end up doing very well at that event. Other things like local festivals that have a theme to them, like we have a strawberry festival up here. Most areas have things that are specific to their area, like different ethnic festivals, things like that. If your customer is going to be at that event and looking to shop, that's something that you will want to investigate further. Number 10, what other events are going on that day in that area? If there are 5 other craft shows going on that day, attendees are going to be spread too thin. People who are looking to go to a craft show are not going to attend all 5 of those. It's just not practical or reasonable, especially if they're spread out all over the metropolitan area. They're not going to go drive and find parking and go into each one of those. They're going to go to 1, maybe 2 of them, do their shopping, and they're done. Right now in my area, it seems to be really trendy for businesses to start craft markets, so our market is getting very oversaturated. One thing that may affect this being a negative for you is that if that event has a very targeted customer, like if the event has a theme, let's say that it's handmade items that are for pets, that'll be something that can possibly negate the factor of the oversaturation. If you have people who people are really, really passionate about their pets, if they find out about an event that has, that the focus is on pet related items, they're more likely to go to that one, even if there are 4 other handmade craft shows going on that day. Another factor is if there is going to be a nearby event that is unrelated to yours, but is going to be taking up all the parking. Like if you're going to be vending at an event that's near maybe a sports arena and there's a big game going on, that might be a huge drawback for attendance, because they might be those attendees might be taking up all the parking spots, and it's going to be too difficult for your potential customers to find a parking space, and they may just avoid that area altogether because they know that there's a big sporting event. On the flip side, let's say that there is a music festival nearby your event, and the items that you sell are very popular with music fans. A good opportunity might present itself in that if that event allows this sort of thing, you could send a friend over there with your flyers or your business card and approach attendees there and invite them, tell them about your business, invite them to come and see you afterwards to shop at your booth. Number 11, what other types of items are going to be sold at that event? Are those items of comparable quality and price to yours? For example, if someone there is selling items that are of inferior quality and a shopper goes to their booth or table before yours, they might turn around and leave and never even make it to your table. So that's going to cause you to lose potential customers. Also, if there are items of a certain price point and your price point is very different from those, that might also discourage shoppers from buying. If they're going there to look for items that are under $20 and you're selling items that are averaging, $50 to $75 or more, they might not be prepared to spend that type of money. They might not be in that mindset. They might be looking for lower cost items and not even look at yours. And the reverse is also a factor too. If it's a fine art show and you have people looking to buy one high-end item, they might not be interested in looking at several inexpensive items that you're selling. Another factor, are the items being sold there only handmade items, or is that organizer allowing items that are sold as part of like direct sales and multi-level marketing? This would be the types of things that people sell on behalf of a company like LuLaRoe or Mary Kay, Avon type products, Pampered Chef, all that kind of stuff. Some people consider those small businesses. They have a completely different clientele that is not compatible with handmade. It's just not. And in my opinion, those aren't even small businesses. They are those people are selling items on behalf of a large company. They had no role in creating or making those products, and they are independent contractors, and that's usually for tax purposes that's advantageous to that company. It's not compatible with handmade, and in my experience and that of many others, if there's a show where direct salespeople are there, it just kills the vibe. It does not bode well for handmade sellers at all. They're just those people are not they're not looking for the same products. So another thing is, are the vendors properly vetted to make sure that things that they are claiming to be handmade actually are handmade? There are people out there who will go and order Chinese import items and pass them off as handmade. That is not cool at all, and a lot of shoppers will see right through that and then assume that your items are also knockoffs, that are, imported items that you personally didn't make. So that's going to hurt everyone involved. And number 12, do you even like doing shows? This is the most obvious question you really need to ask yourself before you sign up for a show in the first place. Shows can be very difficult and stressful for a variety of reasons. Just think about a typical day if you're doing a show. You need to wake up very early, pack up your car, travel, unpack it, haul all your stuff to your space, set it up, then engage in selling and socializing all day, having limited opportunities to eat or use the bathroom. Then you need to tear it all down, pack up your car again, drive home, and then unload it from your car. That is very draining. And especially if you're an introvert like I am, that adds to it immensely. It can be overwhelming. There are some people who do shows every single weekend. I could never be one of those people. It is just overwhelming. For me, it's very draining and difficult, and I know the importance of being friendly and engaging with your customers. That's a must. You know, you need to be able to acknowledge everyone who comes into your booth. And for me, it's really hard to say hello and smile to every single person, which sounds silly if you're not an introvert, but it just is. Sometimes all I can kind of muster is just a smile, and you know that is, you know, that's okay too. You know, as long as you're not glaring at the person and, you know, shooting daggers out of your eyeballs, you know, it'll be okay. And you're able to answer their questions. On the flip side, you don't also want to be super obnoxious and be rattling off the same canned sales pitch to every single person who walks by. That is a huge turnoff as well, and you're not going to be very successful with that. But anyhow, for me, I need to either bring a family member, like one of my kids or a friend along to help me, because otherwise it just gets overwhelming. Otherwise, if I'm near another vendor who I'm friends with, that can also help me a lot too. But these are all things that need to be planned for in advance. So on the flip side, if you're an extrovert, you're really outgoing, and you love meeting new people, you love socializing, you love getting feedback on your products, then doing events may be an absolute blast for you. You really may enjoy doing them and want to do them all the time. You know, even if you necessarily don't have a good day as far as sales, you will have still gotten something out of it. You got all that feedback, you got to catch up with other vendor friends, you know, you got to, you know, go out and experience a new event or maybe a new area you haven't been to before. Craft shows are very unpredictable. Despite our best efforts and due diligence to make sure that we're picking a show that's a good fit for us, you may still not have a good experience. It's always going to be a risk. It's a matter of if that risk is something that you can afford and are willing to take. Even something like a successful show that has a very good reputation and you've done it before, one year may be better or worse than another. Or a 2-day show may be good one day and bad the next, and then the next year vice versa. And one vendor's experience may be different from yours for a number of reasons. It might be the type of item they're selling, their particular location within that venue, it might be their personality. There are always a lot of different factors. I hope this video was helpful to you. If it was, it would really help me out if you gave it a thumbs up and share it with your other crafty friends as well. If you're new here, I would love to have you as a subscriber. So hit that subscribe button and the little bell notification so that you can be notified when I post new videos. And finally, if you have any other tips that you would like to share, please leave them in the comments below. And as always, thanks for watching.